Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Alright, I know Thor talked about this yesterday, but I kind of want to talk a little bit about what Charmin Obaid-Chinoy said with her upcoming Star Wars film.
The Rey movie, as it
Yes,
is
the
dubbed.
Rey movie, because there's nothing else to call it. There's no other information.
Yeah, we know nothing but Rey will be in
Just
it.
like we keep calling the other movie the Dawn of the Jedi movie because it'll take place at that point in the timeline, and we call the other one the Mandoverse movie because,
It's just easy.
yeah, we have to dub them something.
Yeah. I mean, you could call it the New Jedi Order movie, too, if you really
Nah,
wanted to, or Rey's
it's
New
the Rey
Jedi
movie
Order.
for now.
Yeah, I like the Rey movie.
The Rey movie. Okay, so she was on CNN or whatever. She's, talking about how this movie will be something very special, saying, I'm thrilled about the project because I feel what we're about to create is something very special, and we're in 2024 now. And it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape a story in a galaxy far, far away. I'm kind of offended on this on multiple levels.
Yes.
For one, Lucasfilm is still currently being run into the ground by Kathleen Kennedy,
Yes.
who is
yes.
a woman last time.
For the last decade, she
checked.
has been shaping the story of a galaxy far, far away.
Not to mention, we're discounting other directors who've worked within Star Wars, such as Bryce Dallas Howard, who I really like. I think she's a great actress,
Yeah, yeah.
as well as I liked her episodes that she did in The Mandalorian.
Yep.
Then there's that Deborah Chow, who did the entire Obi-Wan series and did some Mandalorian episodes.
Yep.
And then she'd talking about, a woman-shaped story or something. What is Didn't
what
Rey
she said,
shape
but yeah.
an entire trilogy already? Didn't
Yep.
Jyn Erso shape Rogue One? Didn't Ahsoka shape the Ahsoka? Well, sort of shape the Ahsoka series.
Yeah. I mean, Sabine
What
did
does
too,
she
but
mean?
I
I
don't.
don't understand. Aren't we past the point? Hey, Charmin, it's 2024. We can stop with the I'm this, so it has to be about my culture or my race or my gender. Just write a good story. Direct a great story. That's what we care about.
You just summed up my video in like 30 seconds.
Well,
I don't know why I bother.
When I watch something, if you never would have told me that Peter Jackson was the one who did the Lord of the Rings movies, I wouldn't have cared. You know how many movies I go to and I have zero idea who the director was, and I don't
Most
care what
movies,
their
I think,
influence
throughout
is.
my life, yeah.
I walk in there and I go, either I liked it or I didn't, which most of the time will still not prompt me to go find out who was the director or the producer or
Yeah.
anything
I mean,
like that.
I made the point that it would be kind of ridiculous. Like, I don't know anybody that I've ever discussed a movie with because as years have gone by, I've gotten more and more into movies. I know more than I once did when I was younger and didn't really care about who directed and produced and stuff. But never in my life have I talked to another guy about movies and been like, "Oh, you like that movie? Did you know it was directed by a woman?" And they were like, "Oh, no, I can't like it." I mean, that doesn't happen.
No, because nobody cares.
Nobody, no. The vast majority of people just don't care. When they go to a movie, if you're a Star Wars fan, you just want it to be good.
I feel like we live in and I know this is a hot topic, but I feel like we live in a society where equality really is a thing. The difference between me and somebody else isn't exactly my gender anymore. It's money.
Yeah.
It's
wealth is
this
the
person
greatest
has more
privilege of all,
money.
yeah.
That money affords privilege.
Yes.
There are poor people of all genders, creeds, religions,
Yes.
colors of the rainbow. There are rich people of those too. I don't look at anything besides, that's where the real inequality
money,
is these
wealth
days.
privilege is. I mean, you could argue there are types of privilege, but elsewhere.
Mm.
But wealth is by far the greatest determining factor.
Especially in America here.
Well,
It's
sure. I
wealth.
think it's worldwide, but yeah, there are. I mean, certainly here in the United States, there are some very wealthy people who
Right.
have privileges.
So I'm just sick and tired of it. I wanted to go into 2024 not having this anymore. This doctrination or ideology or whatever it is that I'm a woman, so me doing this is monumental. I'm like, well, unless you're doing some crazy athletic thing, I mean, it's directing. This is all about
Yeah, you're not curing cancer, right?
right.
I mean, I love Star Wars, but
If you're curing cancer, I don't care what you are.
well, yeah, that would
good
be
on you.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to be like, well, no, I'm the first so and so or such and such to have cured. No, you did it.
Yes.
Congrats.
Yes. It just seems like we always have to be tribal, right? We always have to favor our own whatever it might be. And that's the thing. If we are ever going to advance as a species, as human beings, we need to get over this idea that like my certain type of people did this, so we are better.
At this rate, we're never getting to Star Trek.
No, I mean Star Trek's a great example. Like Gene Roddenberry, that was quite a vision. I mean, he in the '60s you had
Look what the world can turn into when money and resources are no longer an issue.
Well, it's about attitude. I think more than even that, it's just about people not looking at everybody as an adversary because you look different,
right?
Or having mistrust because and don't get me wrong, like stereotypes evolve oftentimes for a reason, but we still need to work on that and get over those things.
So I was just hoping we'd start off 2024 better, not with the same old.
Yeah, it was just funny to hear it because I'm like, you're seriously kind of like saying you're the one who's like the woman who's going to do the first big thing with Star Wars when it's really been run by women for a decade. Does she think about how that makes other
women feel?
I don't know.
Does she think of how that made Bryce Dallas Howard or Deborah Chow feel? Or even Kathleen Kennedy or any woman who's ever worked in Star Wars is like, oh, hold on. Charmine's coming. Now a woman has put their stamp on Star Wars.
Yes, because you were going to direct this one movie using a character that had an entire trilogy that was basically brought about by the woman who was the president of Lucasfilm. Like, somehow you doing this film is going to be something monumental.
This is, yeah. I mean, get her award polished up for when that Rey movie does so well in the theater.
Well,
I actually do really want it to do well.
That's the irony, right?
I'm hoping they can flip over a new leaf and realize maybe this doesn't sell.
Yeah, I mean, if the Rey movie is an absolute disaster, then, I mean, in a weird sort of way, if you're someone who really doesn't like the sequels and wants to see them retconned, I mean, that's the kind of the sad part is like, well, Lucasfilm has to realize there are a lot of people who like have a true motivation to see this movie flop and completely fail, because it may be that straw that breaks the camel's back, and maybe Disney's like, you know what, this thing isn't salvageable. Maybe we got to redo the sequels. So
maybe.
I mean, do I think that's going to be the case?
Probably not.
I don't know. Probably not. But who the hell knows what's going to happen with this movie?
All right. Well, let's talk about something else.
Yeah,
I'm done talking about her. It'll get to her head if she hears me talking about it too much.
I'm sure she's watching our video right now.
Hey, this is the female.
Nah, it's a female-led channel.
I don't think I'm the leader. I think we're equals.
Well, you're my partner and everything, so that's how I look at it.
At least on this channel.
But in this channel, it's your channel. I mean, you kind of decide the videos. You edit most of the time. You kind of dictate
things.
But
I don't need an award for that.
No,
so everyone knows.
It's still a team. I mean, that's
team effort.
Yeah.
All right, but on to something else, because like I said, I'm done justifying
you were
that
mad.
conversation.
It was great when you told me about this, because you were like fired up. Like, did you hear what she said? I'm like, what now? What did she do? Anyway, let's move on.
So the director behind the John Wick films, Chad Stileski, kind of talked about how he was interested in making a Star Wars movie, which I found very interesting. He was doing like this watch-along type thing of John Wick Chapter 4, and then he and the other dude he was with started discussing other franchises he'd be interested in directing. Because when you're a director, that's what you talk about.
Sure.
Yeah, and then when they were talking about Star Wars, he emphasized kind of how important it was to him. He said, I'm a Star Wars guy. The first Star Wars changed my life. Maybe someday out there, Disney, if you're listening, hit me up in a couple of years. I have a couple of takes for Star Wars. The other guy's like, oh, do you have your idea or two? And he said, yeah, I do. I'd take a swing at it.
Right.
Interesting.
He's probably got an idea where like somebody has a droid and it gets killed and they go on a killing spree kind of thing.
Well, I do think it's interesting, especially with Echo coming out, being, Marvel MA titled, them trying to see how Netflix they can go.
Yeah.
If that goes well for them, would they? I mean, Andor got close to the line.
Andor is...
It skirted the line by just giving you a
adult without being like... It doesn't have like the violence. Yes.
But if Echo does well incorporating the violence, could we see a violent
Star Wars
bounty hunter underground Boba Fett,
young
Jango Fett, or just
we need him and Tamora Morrison has been talking about he's down for season 2, and like if they want to do real Boba Fett, I'm down for season 2 as well, and like get these two together.
I would be okay with them doing maybe a flashback to some of his formative years, and Tamora Morrison being like the narrator of his stories of his younger self.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, you could put it between, you could put it any time on the timeline. You can put anybody in the suit and have Tamora doing the voiceover or whatever you need to do, or like you say, kind of narrating it.
It could be really cool, and it could be that violent MA Star Wars that I could definitely see him doing with it. I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't need to be like gratuitous, or it doesn't need to like
No.
go over. We don't need Boba Fett like slamming somebody's head in a spaceship door or whatever it might. You know what I'm saying? But it can go a little further than we've seen Star Wars go in that department. I think that'd be awesome.
it's interesting that he is totally for, because he said he's a Star Wars guy. He'd love to do a Star Wars show or movie of some kind, but he also is very reluctant working with established franchises. That's why when he created the John Wick films, he kind of stayed in John Wick. Because he doesn't like always playing in somebody else's sandbox. He doesn't want to mess that up for them. He doesn't want to have it, all the parameters that are involved.
Sure.
So that's why he's stuck with John Wick. He says he could do more with it because it's his.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's his own mythology. Going into Star Wars, there are rules.
Well, there should be, yeah. Well, there should be. I mean, I respect that. That's what I like. I mean, I hate when it's the other way around, when it's the person like, I want to come in there and I want to, tear down some sandcastles and build some new things. Like, I respect the person who's hesitant because they're either they don't like playing in someone else's sandbox, which is fine, or because they actually have a genuine concern about, like, coming in and messing things up.
What's interesting is because, in my mind, that sounds very Tony Gilroy-esque to me. He came into Star Wars. He obviously respects the sandbox, but he also wanted people to throw it out of their brains and just go, you know what, this is going to be a good show. This is what I'm writing. This is going to be fantastic. Let's do it this way. Stop thinking about Star Wars. I mean, this answer from Selesky sounds similar to what I could see at Tony Gilroy.
Yeah.
So maybe it could be another refreshing take into the franchise.
I like that we're seeing some directors kind of throw their hat into the ring and be like, hey, I'd do this. Because that's what I prefer that over like going in, as I've said before, like Star Wars has, or Lucasfilm has this habit of like, what's hot now? Like, we'll go get Taika Waititi, or from Game of Thrones, we'll get Benioff and White. Like, or Patty Jenkins had one good movie. Like, oh, she's hot. We need to get her in here. Mm-hmm. Like, can we just get the people who actually like want to make Star Wars movies, who have good ideas and are just, there for Star Wars?
I like
Instead of you going out and trying to recruit somebody because you think putting that name on there is gonna, help sell it when you have Star Wars, which should sell itself. I don't know.
Right. Well, Selesky is currently attached to direct a future Highlander film, which, rumor has it, could possibly be starring Henry Cavill as Highlander.
Oh my god. I'm in.
He's also working on a Ghost of Tsushima film.
Wow. So he kind of does like working in established franchises.
Yeah. Well, if he's doing like a reboot, restart of Highlander, he does have their rules, but you still get to kind of do your own thing.
Well, there's really only one rule. There could be
only one?
Yeah.
And only one rule.
Yeah. Well, yes.
The one rule is there can only be one.
It's kind of like Fight Club in a way. There's like one rule.
You don't
I never mind that.
You break rules, you don't get to be
I just broke the rule,
group.
yes.
Lucasfilm has other directors attached to things like Sean Levy and Taika Waititi, so it's going to be a wait and see. Honestly, I think the next movie that comes out is going to shape a lot of the future we'll see from Star Wars.
Well, like we were saying before, if the next one is the Rey movie and it just completely bombs, then you really have to question the validity of the sequel trilogy era, right?
I feel like that's why they're spreading the next movies out so much. You'll have one that takes place in the future, one that takes place in the past, and then one that's in the Mandoverse.
Yeah, kind of the present. I think we kind of think of the Mandoverse
because they're the one we have current content for.
Yeah,
so it's
we're getting
the
so
present.
much from it. Yeah, so it'll be interesting.
It's almost like 3 different entire takes too, so they can see which one do people like. Did people like the Rey movie and the direction we're going there? Do people like the Mando, or do people just want us to throw everything out, go to the past, and see what we can do?
It'll be very curious if the Rey movie doesn't do well at all, like really bad, like flop, loses hundreds of millions of dollars, and if the Mando movie does extremely well, because then I don't want to try to like get people's hopes up if you don't like the sequels or play the what if game necessarily, but at that point, do you just ride the Mandoverse into a whole new future?
Right, because why can't we go to the future where Rey's Jedi Order exists and just follow different characters?
Yeah, you've already
go to the future.
Yeah, you've already brought something like the World Between Worlds into live action with the Ahsoka series. So, I mean, do you consider that? If you're Disney, you only care about making money. So if you see that's what's making money and the other thing isn't, wouldn't you be completely fine with kind of overwriting what did make money? I don't know. Interesting.
I think they would.
Yeah, just something to think about. But for now, that's all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think about anything we discussed here today. And let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.